few years ago, and neither of them sympathetic to the rumoured excesses surrounding her procession through the wet Dorset villages, would be limited to guessing at the meaning of the word taffeta. Some new brand of cattle feed? The pony draws the trap on. Reined in for safety upon the passing the majestic ivy-covered front of Lang's Hotel, for it would not do to scare one of the women crossing the town square from the Town and Country Bank to the grocer's on the High Street. Samuel's appearance outside the dressmaker's prompts a flurry of hiding and tidying. Declarations pitched high and a hurried shedding of white silk and lace are a prelude to Louisa's emergence in today's demure striped dress. She blushes causelessly, and her eyelids flicker as she climbs the trap to join her future husband. He grins and inquires after the cause of her emotions, but she straightens her expression, along with her skirts, and directs him toward the serious matter ahead. The trap curls a tight about turn, and steps are retraced, back through the square, down Westborough, until they reach the door of Charles Ellis, Samuel's best man. The subject of many muttered terms of admiration, credited with being the restoration of his family's fortune following the demise of his violent and intemperate father, and held in altogether greater esteem than Matthew Ellis, the choirmaster and his elder half-brother. If asked, Charles would feign ignorance of the current trends in bridal gowns, and might even raise a single withering eyebrow in distaste at the question. It would be an errant lie. A good friend to Samuel and Louisa, he has heard more than enough about Chantilly, tulle, and gauze to have an opinion. Wouldn't admit it, because he considers himself a simple Dorset man along the lines of Bill Brown and John Street. Presently to be found, as so often in his accounts room at the back of the family home, once a coach house on Westborough, scratching away at ledgers, shepherding his pennies, but summoned to the front by Samuel's loud and insistent knocking. A meek appearance around the side of the half-open door, then a broad smile and greater opening. "Samuel! Louisa! My, what a welcome surprise! Come in, come in!" An embarrassed ushering through a bare hall into an ill-decorated parlour. Pretensions to simplicity have disappeared now, Charles apologising for the poor surroundings, entreating his guests to be seated, and offering a range of refreshments he couldn't possibly supply. Tea is beyond him. The offer is waved aside by Samuel and Louisa in unison. A frowning from the hopeful couple, Charles leaning in, arm pressed on his chair's faded fabric, detecting disquiet, but wanting for its cause. "Something's wrong?" he asked. "Louisa has concerns for her cousin, Charles." Turning to her female guest, "Your cousin?" Henry Cuff. You met him once at the fair at Blandford," Louisa says. "Blonde-haired lad?" "Yes, full of life and a delightful smile. At least, that's how he used to be. The most beautiful singing voice, so we asked him to perform a solo at our wedding." "He broke into tears," Samuel explains, interrupting his betrothed. "He did," she adds. "But he would not, for all our entreaties, reveal the cause of his distress." Charles is concentrating on Louisa's words. She frowns with delicate earnestness. "It seems to be a problem with either the school or the choir, or perhaps the other boys. He attends Mr. Strickland's church school, but rebels against it passionately. Refuses to go in the morning, and once there he runs away. Same with the choir." At the second mention of the choir, Charles glances away with something sour to his expression. Louisa continues. "His father, Uncle Thomas, is not a very soft man. Not harsh, I shouldn't say—" "No, not harsh," Samuel adds. "But not soft either, and the more Henry protests, the more my uncle insists. He must attend school and choir, and he's threatened punishment if he runs away again." Charles leans back in his chair, running his finger over his lip. "How can I help?" Louisa and Samuel exchange a glance. Reflections, perhaps, of an earlier conversation.